Golden Door is sexy, but dude, there's nothing about it that's sexy at all.
Welcome everyone to episode 20 of Grit and Grace. I'm here with the other Canadian legend. There's a lot of Canadian legends, but Aubert Lesperance.
Aubert Lesperance.
I'm Canadian, so I should know the French, but Aubert is obviously a legend in the door-to-door space. 2-time Golden Door, just did $1 million this summer, very quickly. But there's more to him. He has an MBA, and then he has a master's at U of U, and then evidently, so it sounds like he is probably a jack of all trades. So thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you. There's very few things I'm more excited about in life than being here right now.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to riff. This is great.
We've been talking about getting you on for like 2 months, and you like slide the story, bro, am I coming? I'm like,
are we doing
I gotta
this?
get Aubert. Yeah. I gotta get Aubert. So yeah, thanks for coming. I always just have people just introduce kind of who they are, a little bit of their just timeline from even birth till now.
Sure.
Just to give a brief idea of who you are so people know.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, brief timeline, kind of speed run. Grew up in Quebec, Canada, just outside Montreal. Was there until I was 18 years old. Left Canada, came to the US, did a good old mission for the church. So I was there 2 years, and then I went to BYU, Idaho. I was also there for about 2 years. So I did a bachelor's in business management. I went into the corporate route. We can get into that. Went to the corporate route, realized it was not for me. Just office work, not really my vibe. I've always been super extroverted, kind of all over the place. And so wanted to do more, wanted to work harder. Decided to give door-to-door sales a shot. Did that, did 500 accounts my first summer. That was great. Wanted to explore other things, pursue other opportunities, went to real estate. Worked in that for a while. Was in Canada again. Lived in Calgary, which is that is.
I'm from
is that,
Lethbridge.
Oh, you're from. Oh yeah,
2
way
hours
better.
south. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah,
way
cool.
better, not better.
Well, yeah, subjective.
Have you been?
Yeah,
to Lethbridge.
Yeah, I have tons of friends from there and Raymond and kind of all over the place.
Just name like 2.
Do you know Van Doos family?
Oh, yeah, I know of.
Like
I think I know of them. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, those guys kind of split their time between Raymond and then Sherbrooke. That's my hometown.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, Sherbrooke?
Yeah, Sherbrooke.
Wait, what? Where's Sherbrooke?
It's like an hour and a half southeast Montreal. It's right across the border from Vermont.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so, anywho. So I was in Calgary for it. No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just dated a girl in Raymond, bro. Like, Raymond's like our rivals in high school. So when you throw those out, I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
The ops. Ops, you got to find out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. So I was in there for a little while, and then I just wanted to come back to the U.S., do other things. And so started an MBA at the University of Utah. Did that for a year. Thought I was going to go the consulting route, which I don't know why, because, again, I had explored the whole corporate thing. Decided to actually do sales again, and so that was 2023, summer of 2023. That's when I earned my second Golden Door, or my first Golden Door, sorry. That was my second summer selling. Did that, went back to the U, finished my MBA, and now I'm working on a Master's of Finance. Did another summer, did $1 million, and now we're here, dude.
Dude, crazy.
So yeah, just life is a lot of, just peaks and valleys, ebbs and flows, lots of different things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for anyone that doesn't know, so Aubert, I know my mom's probably going to listen, or Aubert's at...
Shout out, Mom.
Yeah, shout out, Mom. He's at Aptive Environmental, so it's a different company. We show love to everyone. I think we were kind of talking about this, like this idea that obviously this isn't a door-to-door podcast, but obviously like anyone that does a Golden Door, anyone that does successful in door-to-door, you just automatically are like, I respect, because I know what it takes, and I know the grit that it has. But it's interesting. I wanted to just dive right into like that topic of being an and person. And so like part of even like I have a vision board and I have like 4 kind of statements. And one of the statements is I want to be an and person. And so someone that's not just, oh, he's a Golden Door rep for door to door. Like I want to be able to expand. And so what are your thoughts on like being an and person? And especially in the space and especially just in general in life?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about the space for a while, but I think it's actually really unfortunate that guys and gals that are really successful in door-to-door kind of hamstring themselves to that exact space. I think that there's a lot of attributes that make you successful at door-to-door sales or anything else, and they're precursors to just success in general. I think the way that I look at it is Dude, I think of regret a lot. And I think if I get to the end of my life and I'm like, yeah, I was like the best in door to door and I built a huge career in door to door, like that's wonderful and that's great. However, I think there's attributes and there's like comorbidities almost to like why I'm successful in door to door that probably would lead to a lot of success and a lot of joy and happiness in other areas. And I think it would be a real shame if I don't like tap into those and explore them.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, dude, I'm just like I'm unbelievably curious about my potential. I'm unbelievably curious about what I'm capable of in door to door, but also in other areas, other aspects. And I think that, dude, like that, the dimensionality that is kind of lacking, I think, in our space sometimes is, yeah, it's just unfortunate. Like I firmly believe that anything I do in one category of my life and in one aspect that makes me better there also has a halo effect in every other category, which also means that everything I do that helps me improve in those categories will also help me improve in what I'm doing currently.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, dude, it's just so important to be versatile, to be polyvalent, and just be well versed in a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the other things that you like doing?
Yeah,
Like that people like maybe because I bottom line is there we know active guys are gonna be watching this.
for
Like
sure.
we know grit guys are gonna be watching. There's other guys in the space that watch this just so they know like, oh dude, like who is Aubert, like besides door to door, and then we'll get into door to door, but like what other things that you dip into, what are some things that like
Yeah.
fire you up, excite you?
Sure, absolutely. And I'll give you a little bit of a timeline too, because that's
Yeah.
like that's been so all over the place for me. I've
Uh-huh.
always been unbelievably just intellectually curious. Like really, really young dude, I was way into magic, like magic tricks.
Really?
So I performed magic for like years and years and years.
So sick.
Like at a young age, which is like cool, but also like uncool when you're a kid. I feel like that's like the staple hallmark of like not being cool.
My brother was that. Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, like I always riffed with
Yeah.
that. I still do. I think it's cool. But yeah, like got way involved in politics when I was younger too, like around 14, 15, like just started thinking about those concepts. That's way interesting to me. I love like exercise, like working out, not really in a like locker room culture type way, but I think it's fascinating, like what our bodies are capable of. It's like health, nutrition, love that stuff. Um, dude, there's so many. It's kind of a season in life, obviously, right now where I'm working a
Yeah,
lot,
you're grinding,
and that's
yeah.
fine. Like balance is, ebbs and flows. But yeah, man, so many other things. Love music. I've always played music. I have perfect pitch. Most of my family does actually.
Really?
Yeah, so I've like trained myself. I play piano, play guitar, I sing. Like I love all that stuff.
Wow.
I'm
Do you
way-
ever produce music or anything like
I
that?
haven't a ton. Like I write stuff. Like
Uh-huh.
I'll write like arrangements on piano, guitar, stuff like that, like interpretations of different songs. Yeah, so like again, dude, I just like I'm so curious about life and this is a concept too that I think of in door to door, but I'll kind of keep it to your question is like there's so many hobbies and interest areas that I'm never going to get to because I just don't have enough
You don't
years.
have enough years. Yeah.
And so to me, dude, it's not even but it's like also and also and also and also and hopefully hopefully I can get through enough of those before like the period happens and the sentence ends.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, dude, there's so much out there to explore and just I think like I think it's helped me in my career for sure to be like an and person.
Uh-huh.
Because when I knock on someone's door and they're like, oh yeah, like I'm getting my MBA, cool. Yeah, like tell me about it. Because like we can riff.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, you do music? Cool, like tell me about your guitar.
Yeah.
Or like this or that. Just dimensionality, dude, absolutely in every way, shape, and form just makes you more palatable to more people.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me.
That's so sick. No, that's cool. I had the owner of J Dogs on yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, and he same like it was inspiring to hear him learn maybe a little bit later, maybe not. I mean, he probably learned it earlier, but he got it seemed like he got caught in this season of like J Dogs, and then as he's getting older, he's like tears welling up in his eyes, just talking about how he's like wanting to learn piano now, and that he's like diving into the fitness and the wellness side of things, and it's just cool. It's cool that like, and it's never too late to like
To start,
branch out,
sure.
and to start. A lot of people are like Skylar Griffin, he's learning how to play guitar right now.
Yeah.
Like there's just cool things. Like I want to learn how to skateboard. It's just like, I don't know, we get so caught up in this like especially this industry is just so ego driven. It's so like, don't get me wrong, I'm a competitive man. I love to compete, but like there needs to be some space for abundance and like learning and growth and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
For sure. But tell me about like, let's talk about this last summer.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like the first summer that you golden doored, and then let's just talk about like the transition from that Golden Door, and then what changed to doing what you did this last summer?
Yeah.
What was that? Yeah, I know that's a very vague question, but that's why I do it. Is I want to open it for you.
Totally, dude. I'm a big like I'm very object oriented, so all of my answers and just like and not just this, but like in life, I always kind of begin with the end in mind, as cliche as that sounds. And it's like, dude, I've spent a lot of time thinking about that because there's days where it surprised me too, just like how much more I could get out of myself. And dude, like the number one key is identity. Like what you think about yourself, how you view yourself, what you expect of yourself, what you think you're capable of, absolutely is a predictor of like what you're actually going to end up accomplishing. And I would say that like, dude, my first summer, like I just didn't really have like a ton of reference of what's good, what's not. And like people tried to have me set goals and I just hated it because I was like, I really have no concept.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like how I measure up to other people
Yeah.
or like how my, background compares. So like it felt a little vain and futile to do that. But my second summer, I was like, okay, like I'm good at this. But then the industry had shifted from 2020 to 2023. And so I was like, okay, like contract values.
Wait, so you did your first summer 2020?
2020.
3 years later, you did your second summer.
Correct.
That's so great. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's so odd.
Such a weird time. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even realize. I thought it was back to back.
Yeah. So when you talk about an and man, to me, it's like, yeah, I did really well at this, but that doesn't mean like I have to do this.
Yeah.
Like I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And like probably win in other categories, right?
Yeah.
And like to me, like that's for sure always interesting. But yeah, like I came back in 2023 kind of in a little bit of the same mindset where I was like, okay, I'm good for sure. But then I started like getting like pretty good. And dude, I remember like at the beginning of that summer, I called some of my leaders and just like leaders at Aptive. And it's no disrespect to anyone, but like I called them and I was like, hey, look, like I've done the math. I'm like a month in. I'm like, if I do this the whole summer, I'm probably going to hit like 500, 550K. And I'm like, dude, there's guys out there that are doing Golden Doors that are doing 650. I know myself, like I'm just not going to be content with like doing that and not hitting Golden Door. Especially if there's other guys out there. Like I am competitive, but it's also to me, it just makes sense logically. Like I want to achieve at the highest level in whatever I do.
Yeah,
always.
of course. Yeah.
And so, but I remember like calling some of them and just more because of the personal relationship I had with them. They were like, dude, like if you do 500K or like 550, dude, your second summer, that's awesome. Like that's great.
To, put you in a box in a way.
Well,
not unintentionally put you in a box. Yeah.
And I think where they were coming from was more like a place of like, hey, don't beat yourself up. Because they also know, and you're probably the same way just because of what I know about you and what you know about me. Like to me, like, dude, if I like start like the like beat myself up cycle, like that never ends. Yeah. And so I think that's where they were coming from. But also I just remember thinking like, dude, why are you trying to like talk me out of doing more? So I was like, okay, cool, thanks, have a good day. Not helpful. So then I just like kept calling people until people like told me, hey, like practically this is how you hit a Golden Door. Like these are the things you're missing. Yeah. And I was like, cool, like I can work with that. But then I started performing better and better. And I would say, dude, it's like a lot of it is when I started selling more and having evidence and concrete proof that I could do it. Once I got like a couple, 3, 4, 5 days where I did over 10K, I was like, if I'm capable of doing this and I can do this on like some odd day, then I'm capable of doing that every day. And really, if I'm not, it just means that I'm not squeezing everything out of myself. But then what starts to happen is instead of that becoming an imperative that just like kind of like beats down on me of like, oh, I suck if I don't. What it became for me is it became this like, I'm that guy. Like I'm actually capable of that. And I didn't grow up or come from a place where I had tons of self-belief. And so to me, when I started aggregating evidence and like actual support for me being able to do that, dude, that's where it skyrocketed. And that's where it started happening consistently. And dude, I'm just such a believer that what the mind dwells upon, the body acts upon. You get what you expect. You are what you think about. What you think about comes about. Like all of those things, those cliches, not cliche, just true.
It's
bars.
Just simple truth.
But I would say that it was the biggest thing. Then from 23, obviously it hit Golden Door. Coming back into 2024, my self-concept
and at that time, that was like for like to do a Golden Door, even like Aptive had a phenomenal year this last year, but at that time in Aptive, that was like
pretty uncommon,
very uncommon. That was dope. Like for you to do that was sick. Like it was awesome.
Well, and especially, dude, and this was the part that was sick for me is like, and bro, dude, there's so much we could talk about on this, and I know you would too, but it's like Golden Door is sexy, but dude, there's nothing about it that's sexy at all. No. Like, dude, the number of days I honestly just cried in my car because I was like, I just had like 3 10K days in a row. And I'm like, and I am about to get out of my car. I'm crying because I'm like, dude, I'm so stressed. I'm so anxious. And I don't know if I've got it in me.
Yeah.
People don't talk about that. That to me is
People
so
don't talk
interesting.
about that. Sometimes more selling is more anxious than less selling. And I felt that. We've talked about this like in messages. I've felt sometimes where I'm selling more, I feel way more of my anxiety, the OC, like it's like exacerbated. It's like
Absolutely.
when I'm not selling, I'm like, it's almost like, oh, okay, I can like chill. It's interesting. Sorry, yeah, keep going.
No,
Yeah.
like, but like you get one deal and then you don't get one for like 5 hours and you're like, oh, cool. Like today's a low day. Like this is great.
It's like I can like kind of like ooh, but then you start rolling and you're like,
and then you're chill and then now you're ripping because you're confident and then you're like, God dang, like I'm back on this.
Yeah.
No,
so
absolutely.
that is that, and I love that you're talking about that. The fact that you're in the car crying, like no one talks. There's this divide of like being great and being like in a way vulnerable and like talking about like, dude, that like sucks. I have like hard days, you know.
Yeah.
But everyone like, especially in the industry, it seems like we all want to lean to like this, and then we have this idea.
Man, like look at my car, look at that.
Yeah, and we have this idea in the industry too, and this is for the whole industry, is like if I sell well, I'm automatically a leader. No, you're not. Just because you're good at selling does not make you a leader of people.
Nope.
You are only a leader if people follow you. And I've learned that so quickly that like just because you golden door does not make you an influencer or a leader.
Yep.
It doesn't mean anything. So, Jar, keep going. Yeah, I love this conversation.
No, you're right. And I mean, I totally saw that too. Like coming into last summer, that was part of the thing. I brought out a bunch of guys, like maybe 15, something like that. But it's like, didn't give them a great experience, to be honest. Like
your first 2023 summer?
2024.
Oh, this
I
last
brought
summer.
a bunch of people off of the Golden Door, right, recruiting year. But then it's like, yeah, dude, like you think, oh yeah, like, yeah, I can lead a team. I can like also rip. I can also do this. And I can like not delegate any of it. And like if this guy did it, I can not true.
Yeah.
Like, right, like the skill sets that allow you to sell well don't necessarily transfer to that. And it's a craft that you have to respect and learn. Leadership is, just like selling is. But yeah, man, like coming back into this last summer, I think for me, it helped that like Aptive kind of plastered me all over the place, right? Where it's like now everyone expects me to perform. Everyone believes I'm going to perform.
Such an interest. You keep going because I have something to say about that.
Yeah, and so to me, I was like, yep, everyone expects me to perform. And so I'm going to perform. And then lo and behold, I perform. Because that's what you expect of yourself. That's what you believe about yourself. Everyone believes it about you. Like that feedback loop is so important. But it starts in your mind, dude. Like I didn't have any of that until I just decided that like, no, actually 500K is not enough for me. Golden door or bust. Like I'm just doing it.
Yep.
And then like that identity started to form, but now it's a lot easier. And to me now, truly, when I get on the doors, like, although like, yeah, I absolutely get anxious and we can talk about that and very open about it, but it's like, although I feel very anxious, like I'm also, there's no doubt in my mind when I go out to knock doors, I'm selling 10K. Like there's zero doubt in my mind that happens every single day. Because of belief, which is reinforced by things that you say to yourself. And then the results that you get, which then feed back into that belief.
Wow. Yeah,
That's the change, man.
Yeah, 100%. It's not. It's like it's not that big of change. It's little changes, but little changes that are big.
Yeah.
You know, but it's super simple. But
Dude, the details matter in such an enormous way.
Yeah, and it's crazy how the simplest of things, the things that are the most simple, sometimes are the hardest things to change. But it's just a simple tweak.
Yep.
And so it sounds like that change was a lot up here. Like,
yeah. I mean, growing up, dude, like I got bullied my entire childhood.
Really?
Up until I was like pretty much 16.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like super short, really skinny, had a really high pitched voice, like pretty much trifecta of like not winning as a like young boy. So dude, like my environment and like my family's great, super supportive, but like my environment just absolutely fed me like so much self-doubt.
Wow.
There's zero self-belief like in me at all growing up.
Were you, because I know for me, I was bullied too for being short. I had long eyelashes. But like for me, I still always had this like weird, like kind of delusional confidence about myself. And I always would see people do like crazy things. Like my friends would bring like things to show me on the internet. Like, look at this guy do. And they would all be like, and I'd be like, I think I could do that. And it's like, I don't know why. It was crazy. Like world records. I'm like, I don't know why. I think I can do that. I think I could do that. Were you like that? Or did that stem later? Like, because you obviously had self-doubt, but did you have any of that, like, background, like, I think I'm a dog?
Yeah, there's, like, a sense of exceptionalism that you kind of had where I'm like, I think I'm special, or, like, I think I can do special things.
When did that when did that flick where you're like, okay, I actually am like unique and special, and I think I can do something special?
To be honest, when I joined the church,
Wow.
because I think just I'd never thought about why I'm here or what it means that I'm here or what like the goal is. What's the end game? Like, what is my potential? What's my identity? Like, where do I come from? What does this mean? I think to me, once I started thinking about that, it was like, and I think this goes for even like non-religious context. Like, dude, there's a reason you're here. Like, even if it's just like, evolution, whatever it is, like, dude, like you won the lotto by just like being a human being and like just the race to the egg, like the fact that you won and you're here is like, dude, that there's meaning to that. There's something special about it. And I think that when I started considering a little bit more just the overall meaning of me being on earth, I was like, and it's not so much from a place of exceptionalism of like, oh, and I don't think yours is either of like, oh, I'm more special than someone else.
No.
Just know there's something special about me. I think that's true of all of us. But yeah, that was not there growing up.
Wow.
Like, and it's not because it wasn't like my parents didn't do a good job of instilling that in me or anything. It's just like, dude, there was so much negative, so many negative voices that even like 2 or 3 positive voices, dude, like at some point they get drowned out in the noise.
100%. And so you joined, and you felt like from there it just kind of opened your idea to your potential.
Yeah, and it
Who you
just
really
made me
are.
think about it more.
Uh-huh.
And also like the reality is your potential is very pliable. A lot of that is plastic and it has to do with like your decisions and how you're going to use your free will to make more of your potential and to maximize that. And once I started realizing like, oh, that's actually in my control, that's where to me, one trait I've always had, dude, is I'm so laser focused and I'm so like perseverant. I always have been. Like I played soccer a lot growing up. I also skated
Really?
and like did all
Cool.
literally
That's
any
sick,
hobby you
yeah.
can think of,
I
bro.
played
I
soccer as well,
straight up
yeah.
did
That's
them.
so sick.
But it's like, dude, I remember I had a coach. I must have been probably 12. And I was like a good player. Like I was defense. I played like fairly competitively. But what I was like way good at was just like my touch. So like I juggled the ball for like ever. And I had a coach, and he came to me one time because he realized that like I was good at it. And he played for like the Olympic team for Canada. But he came to me and he was like, "What's your record?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't count." He was
Yeah.
like, "Why not?" He's like, "Come back when you can do 100." And I was like, dude, like that has always fired me up.
Really?
And so I did like 105 and I came back and he was like, "Well, my record's like 400." I was like, he's like, "But just do like 200." I came back with like 350. And I was like, "Dude, I'm catching up." And he was like, "Yeah, do
Sick.
500. Beat my record." And so, dude, straight up, the reason I tell you this is because I would go outside. I would not eat breakfast. I
You're
would
the
wake
same,
up.
dude. You're telling me this, and I have something crazy to tell you. Sorry, keep
Yeah,
going.
no. I'm sure we have similar stories
Yeah.
because again, like that's why I'm excited to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
But it's like, dude, like I would wake up in the morning. I would not eat breakfast. I would grab my soccer ball. I'd put my shoes on. I'd go outside, and I would like. It takes a long time to get 400 touches in. It takes like a good 20 minutes. And I would do that over and over and over again until I beat my record. Like I spent 10 hours straight multiple times, like most days. I would just be without eating. I'd just be out there. And it's funny because I like talked about that with my parents recently, and I was like, dude, I'm so grateful that you guys let me do that because that's so insane, and like that you didn't like shove it down my throat to go do my homework or whatever because I'd end up doing it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, like that level of obsession has always been there. And so for me, the second that I realized like, oh, I'm capable of more and it's kind of up to me, dude, it's off to the races from there.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. You're saying the story. I'm like, oh yeah, dude. I same thing. Would go outside, soccer ball. I'd bring my soccer ball on trips. I would juggle it in public with my soccer ball. Grade 7, I did over 1,000. Grade 7, I just in the sun. My neighbor would just watch me.
So you got me beat, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just literally, dude. I literally stood, mess up for hours in
Yeah.
the sunshine. I remember the day, and then the neighbor's like, "Holy shit!" He like swears, and I'm like still going, and I like put my hand up, like don't distract me. I'm like still going.
Yeah.
But like I would go. I would be crying. I'd be tears rolling down my face because I had to juggle back and forth from my road to my house back to like I think it was 3 times.
Yeah.
And I kept failing and it was like 3 a.m. and I remember crying and I had to keep going.
Yeah.
It's unhealthy. I mean, it's obsessive, but it's good. But then finally my parents were like, "Son,
Like,
it
you
is
gotta
3
chill.
a.m. Like, you need to come in. And I'm like, I'm like screaming at them, no! And I would go finish, and I finally finished it. But it's so crazy you mentioned the soccer because it's the same thing, dude. Like, I grab my ball, take it outside, don't eat, just go to work.
Dude, you know what that reminds me of? That's actually so interesting, and then we can go to something else. But again, I'm excited to riff on these things with you. I actually haven't thought about this in years. But when I was like way into Magic, like 10, 11, 12, dude, like I remember I always wanted to be, I had this like fixation that I just like always wanted to be prepared to like perform something in public for like
Really?
people. And, but dude, like, so you're going to love this story. Um, it got to a point though where I was like, okay, well, I have to have a card trick, and then I have to have like a trick I can do with coins because like based on circumstances and like if there's a table or not.
You're, like,
And then there
pre-planning
has to be
everything.
this, bro. All of my pockets, my pant pockets, front, back, both sides, and like my jacket, all of them would be jam packed with just props. Dude.
Props for tricks, yeah.
But dude, like I would stress about it and I would cry about it of like, are these the right ones? Like, am I good to, and I never actually like ever did any of that. But I just had this fixation of like, yeah, just these like small micro obsessions I've always had. And it's interesting, dude, because like, again, I'm just so grateful that my parents like didn't intervene with that. And some could argue like they probably should have, like it's 3 a.m. But dude, it just like, it totally made it okay to me to fully pursue those obsessions. And I think because there was no taboo around it, it's kind of helped me curb them a little bit where I don't feel like there's a, you know, you just know what taboos do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Dude, wow. So
Fun stuff.
crazy. So for you, like we've talked off camera like a little bit about like just like we both have like pretty bad OCD.
Yep.
And it's like one of those things that's like misunderstood. I don't know if I told you, but I'm in the extensive outpatient facility right now. So I do 3 hours a day of exposure therapy, 5 days a week.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I just admitted. I just went there. I started 4 weeks ago. Dude, if you
I would
really
love to ask so many like personal questions about that. And I don't know
dude,
if this is the platform.
it's been beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like amazing because you walk into the building. I show up every day, and I show up and I walk in and it's just it's almost emotional to me. But you show up and you walk in and it's like your mind, your health challenges that doesn't care about your status. It doesn't care about how cool you are, how you dress. I'm walking in and I go to group therapy with all the same people and they're all so different. Like, you know what I mean? And so what I wanted to talk about was just like your challenges with that.
Yeah.
And like, when did that kind of start? Like maybe not just the OCD, mental challenges in general. Like when did you kind of like first kind of be like, holy, this is pretty heavy. And then, how's it been recently?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, I mean, we could argue back and forth on what's better or worse, but it sounds like, at least from the conversations we've had, you're more heavy on the O, like, right, the ruminations, the thoughts, those kinds of things. I used to be like that was way more how I was when as a kid.
My compulsions are ruminating and like reassurance seeking from people. That's like my compulsions.
Yeah.
So yours is a little bit different, but keep going,
mine are way more, just compulsions of like, I mean, behavior from like shopping, which I'm fairly frugal, so at least the places I'll go like spend and splurge, like those kinds of things, like that for sure is a thing. All the classic OCD stuff like flagship, like locks, lights.
Flagship meaning
like the things that went almost stereotypical and people think of like
OCD.
Yeah, like all of that stuff, dude, like locks, lights, but it's like to a point where I will stand there like locking and unlocking my like front door actually 25 times. Wow. Yeah, and then
OCD, that's true OCD.
Yeah, and then I'll go to like, okay, cool, now it's finally locked so I can go to bed. I'll go to bed, but then it's like, oh crap, I forgot to do this. Now I like go back to a point of my routine that's typically prior to locking the doors. Now I have to do the whole thing.
Again. Yeah.
And then if it like doesn't have the tactile feel that I want, then I have to like do it. And it's like, dude, there's been times, especially in just like high anxiety times of my life, where it's like hours of just like little things like that. Lights, have to turn it off. Like when I was, dude, my earliest memory of that, to answer your question, I don't even know how old I was because I barely have like real formed memories from that age. I must have been like, I can't remember too much of my childhood, but I'd say like 6 or 7 or maybe earlier, where I had this like night lamp and I'd turn it off and on and it had to feel how I wanted. and off and on and off and on. I'd just stand there.
Yeah.
Like my parents would put me to bed and I'd get out of bed because I'm like, oh, was it turned off correctly? And I like turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off for like a long time. And my parents come in and be like,
was with these things, was there like a fear? Because a lot of times when we do things like with OCD, there's a fear attached to, if I don't do this, then something's gonna happen. Or was there any fears with safety, or like what were those kind of things? Or was it just this? You just needed like reassurance that it was locked. Like
I would love to know the answer to that question. And I think
you should go to therapy, bro.
Well, I have.
No, not that you haven't, but you should really dive into
other
it
stuff. Yeah. And maybe this is also OCD, but there's part of me that loves that I don't know. There's part of me that loves and I feel a deep attachment to these things and to those hurdles. Like I don't, in as much as they're not really obtrusive to like my day-to-day life and relationships, I love that I have those things that kind of like hold me back and feel like I'm still grinding and hustling, even in like minute, like meaningless, trivial ways.
Wow.
I love those things. I love like, dude, I love the nights in the summer where like everything went wrong, like team struggling, I'm struggling, this is happening, like area permits, this and that. And then I'm like locking, unlocking. I actually love it. And there's part of me that just loves, like, it sounds bad, but like almost the pain of it. But to answer your question, there's not a clear identifiable fear attached to it. Like, it's not like, oh, if I lock my door poorly, like someone will break in. I guess that's probably the underlying fear, but even then there's no rational fear to it because I'm not afraid if someone breaks in my house.
But it causes tremendous anxiety though.
Yeah, but I think there's just
do you love it, period? Like you don't want to heal it? Like you don't want to get better with it?
I don't.
You don't want to get better from like have some relief of OCD?
To be honest, I don't.
Wow.
And that includes like every time I park my truck at night, I have to go through every single switch. Like close this, close that, close the windows, close this window, do this, do that. Crazy. The emergency parking, the actual parking. I have to make sure it's like in the parking.
You just every night?
Yeah, every night.
So you have that anxiety every night?
Every single night.
Is it actually stirring
It stresses
up anxiety?
me out. Like I scream sometimes because I'm so anxious about it. And I'm gonna
okay, keep going. I'm really curious because, bro, it's taken my life away. Like, it's like, so the fact that you're like, oh, dude, I actually like it. I'm like, whoa.
I'm gonna tell you why I love it, dude. Dude, that is what makes like the peaceful times happy, dude. Mm-hmm. Like contrast, good makes bad feel bad, bad makes good feel good. Mm-hmm. I just love it, dude. And I know it sounds bad, but it's like maybe I almost love pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I feel an attachment to, and maybe it's just, again, part of my brain. I don't know. And part of me doesn't want to know because I love the mystery behind it. But
Which is so crazy that you like the uncertainty, but OCD screams for certainty. But somehow, like, I'm like trying to figure you out. This is very
I love certainty.
Because usually anyone that has severe OCD, like, is like, bro, this is taking over my life. Like, I need help. I need help. So this is crazy.
It absolutely is. But the truth too, dude, is like, I love that. And I can't fully put a finger on it. To be honest, I think what it is even growing up, all of my hobbies, dude, I would obsess like an absurd amount, as you can imagine, over like learning something, like figuring out how to do a kickflip, dude.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, let me go do this for an hour with my homies and I didn't land one. Cool. No. It's like, cool, like I'm going to take like a bunch of water bottles and I'm at the park all day.
Yeah.
Until it's done.
Yeah.
I work until it's like completed.
Yeah.
And to me, my mind has always been wired that way.
Yeah.
So I think I've always been so habitually just like in perpetuity, just used to the grind that actually I would give up hobbies the second I got like pretty good at them. I've always done that. I was diagnosed with it when I was a kid.
Okay.
I think a
lot of people do, but
so I don't know.
It's a very common trait though for people with ADD that like they'll get like good at something and they're like, they're like, new thing. It's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up a new thing and pick up a not like totally, but like
Totally.
in some sense.
But I think part of what that has created is, dude, I'm so in love with when it sucks.
Yeah.
I'm in love like with, and that's part of too of why I love this, like the concept of grit, dude. I love when it sucks.
Yeah.
I love the days when,
You were so like me, bro. It's crazy.
bro, I'm not ripping, it's not landing, it's not working, it was just not, it starts pouring, my iPad's like dying, then it's like all watery, I can't like even read and type on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, I don't know if I'm gonna sell, and it's like competition. That feeling, dude, where everything is not how you would want, is my favorite feeling in the world. I'm actually genuinely addicted to that feeling. Because like then, dude, the overcoming that and making it happen regardless. But to me, like that.
Do you think, is it an addiction of figuring it out, or the addiction of the feeling that you like more? Like, do you like the idea of figuring something out, or do you like the idea of just suffering?
Put it that way. I mean, it sounds a little bit dark.
No,
but
it's good. I live in the dark,
like,
bro. I live there.
I think I like the suffering because, to be honest, like when I overcome it and I have the big day, zero satisfaction.
You crave the...
In fact, like usually I'll get in the car like every summer without fail that I've ever knocked, especially the last two where it's been more high profile and it's been more successful. I end the summer and I cry all the way home because I'm like, I don't know if I did enough. I don't know if I did everything I was capable of.
Every day?
No, at the end of the summer.
Oh, I was like,
no,
brother.
No.
Okay,
like,
we need
like,
help.
No,
Okay, I'm like, brother, we need to get you some help. Yeah.
No. But at the end of the summer, there's zero relief. There's no happiness.
Yeah.
There's no joy. It's all, dude, just like, I wonder if I could have done like 1.4, like 1.5. I don't know. I don't know if there's things I could have done, and then I start like reliving the summer.
Do you and don't mind me asking you about this last summer, but do you feel like there was like, damn, I didn't do 1.3? Like,
I'm glad you asked.
Sure
I had to be done because I had to go back to school.
And I'm sure that's why it was. That's what I had thought. I was
Yeah.
like, surely he literally had to go home.
I never would have left. I never,
I
ever,
knew
ever would
yeah.
have left.
And that's what I was going to ask you.
I wouldn't have left until I beat Seeger, to be honest.
Really?
Like, I wouldn't have left until I beat... Yeah, because to me, it's like I'm still not the best.
Yeah.
Like, in some metrics I am, but, like, it's all arguable until you're the best in every metric.
Yeah.
So, to me, like, all of those pursuits that are, like, competitive in nature, or like, oh, I want to hit this mark or this double golden door or this, all of those, to me, actually motivate me extremely little. To me, all of it has to do with identity. I want to be the best. Mm-hmm. So measurably, well, golden door is like a good metric for that you're like among the best. Mm-hmm. But then once you do that, it's like, okay, like I want to be pretty much the best. And now it's like the best Aptive, cool. But it's like, dude, like, yeah, no, it all had to do. It's just like, I had to be back. And I'm sure some people are going to watch that and be like, like, was it? Or
of course.
like,
I mean, that's the whole industry. Yeah.
But that, yeah. And that's the reality.
The whole industry is full of the guys that didn't do it that are critiquing the guys that did do it.
Yeah.
It's how it is. It's how it always is.
But to me, dude, like I could sit down with Seeger and I'm sure that he would say too, like that record, it's not none of these are at that rewarding, dude.
Oh, dude, I've sat with Seeger here.
Yeah.
He's told me, he's like, dude, if I walk away today from the industry and all I'm known as the GOAT, he's like,
I saw that. Yeah.
I've literally failed.
Yeah.
Like, I have not done.
He was like, that would be the worst thing that you could say to me.
Yeah.
Is like if you came up and said that.
And I think that's the abundant mindset of this job is creating leadership. Leadership is sacred. And I think I can say these things because I've been in that place. I'm figuring myself out as we all are. None of us know exactly.
Sure.
But I'm learning that the clout that comes with being the best, or the clout that comes with this or this golden door, it's great. And being obsessed with I want to be the best.
Yeah.
Like, of course I want to be. Everyone wants to be the best, but there's things deeper than just being the best at one thing. Like if you can also lead and be the best, like that's dope. You know, there's so many other factors. But yeah, I was curious about that. I was like, I wonder if that haunts him or.
It doesn't at all.
Because literally you're confident in what.
Yeah.
You know exactly.
I mean, I would have stayed there a week and a half more. I would have done it.
Yeah.
So to know that doesn't haunt me, I think what haunts me, and the reason it doesn't haunt me is because what would it accomplish? I did 1.3. Cool. So then I can like measure up to these other people. I don't. I
She
truly.
could be a double golden door. Yeah.
I truly get zero. And
That's
again,
awesome,
people
dude.
can doubt this. I get
No, I believe
zero
you. I can see it in
emotional
your eyes. Yeah.
validation from like beating someone else.
That's so
It
cool.
does nothing for me. I'm not satisfied from I hit this metric. None of it is rewarding to me. All that's rewarding to me, dude, is like the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, more, better, better. Mainly because it just says something about me. What I've gotten addicted to truly is that I didn't used to have self-belief. Now I believe in myself, and I want to have even more reason to believe in myself, because that feeling of believing in yourself truly to your core is the best.
That's
It's amazing.
where, yeah, dude. It's a when you know. It's like the Drake lyric, like it's like when you are who you think you are.
Yeah, you know it's real when you are who you think
Who you
you
think
are.
you are, you're like
Yep.
that. That's where you want to be, and then when you get to that place, you enter a flow state. When you enter a flow state, you're so present, and when you're present, you can connect, you can build relationships, you can create. And I think creation is the ultimate reason why we're here. Is we're here to create, and creating means relationships. Creating means creating new records, creating new teams, new bonds. Like there's so many things within this idea of creating and creation.
Yeah.
I'm upset. That's my obsession right now is
Yeah.
creation. Like
Yeah.
what can we create? And so to ask you, what do you want to create? What are you wanting to create right now? And that could mean anything. What's the creation for you?
Yeah, I mean, right now, kind of the one that I'm really like pretty bullish on is, and I think part of it is just from my non success, my failure to do that last summer, is just like, dude, recreating some of what I've done in other people.
That's awesome.
And what I mean by that is like not at all like people being like me or doing like me, but trying to distill what are the principles that got me to be a better version of myself and like the best so far version of myself. What are the trend lines and the patterns that have gotten me there? And instead of telling someone, "Hey, do everything I did," it's like take these patterns, take these materials and go build your own version of yourself. Dude, I am so unbelievably passionate about that right now because I've seen it. Like I'm seeing some of my reps start to understand how I've, and this is granular, but like how I've dissected the pitch, how I've revised the way I resolve objections, like how I've thought through these things. And I used to be like, hey, look, this is what I say, take that, do it, it'll probably work. And it does.
Yeah.
But way more than that is I actually want to empower my reps to start thinking about things a little bit the way I think about it and have the confidence to start critically analyzing what they do in their processes and be there
Not
to
just be like, oh, Aubert does this, he says this. Give me a scorecard of what he says.
Yeah.
Instead, build off of their own.
Well, because I have a rep actually I was meeting with this week that was like, I actually think like sometimes I'm scared to say something that you don't say because I feel like I'm not going to sell.
Which is exactly what you don't want.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, that is,
That's the worst part.
I was like, oh, no. But I was also thinking like,
I'm scared to say not what Aubert. If I don't say, I'm not going to sell.
yeah. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, no shame in him thinking that, right?
Yeah,
Because I'm like, there's a reason you think that. And I probably created that. But like, I'm just thinking like, okay, let me actually instead, like you're clearly capable, like you've done well. It's a good rep. It's like, let's pull back the curtain a little bit. And let me just kind of show you how I've come up with these things that like you say and that kind of like limit your self-belief at this point. Like, let me help you figure out how I came up with these and audit your process. Like, are there things you say that don't make sense to you sometimes that you're like, I'm saying this because like I can see Aubert saying it. Yeah. Okay, cool. What are they? And then, okay, cool. Well, what would make more sense to you to say? And what would feel more organic and what would you have more belief in? Well, probably this like phrasing or like nonverbal. Cool. You just did that. It looks better to me truly than what you did the first time. So there just, yeah, I'm really passionate right now about creating in others the same level of self-belief that got me to high achievement.
So you're obsessed with the idea of helping people believe in themselves.
Oh, dude,
Essentially.
100%.
It's not really about building a golden door. It's really about building someone that really just believes. And
Dude,
impact, dude. You're all about impact.
Yeah.
It's the most successful people I have coming through here. They're obsessed with impact.
Yeah.
They just want to impact people.
And part of that too, I think, I mean, it's been a journey for me to learn because at first, to be honest, I want a golden door, and some people, like you'd say like, oh, I want impact, but dude, what happens is you hit a golden door, you hit a mill, and your life doesn't change at all.
No.
And then you're like,
I'm glad you're saying this. I'm glad you're saying this because people need to hear this.
Yeah, bro. And you realize like I have no impact actually. No one cares. And like I go
And
home.
no one thinks about you as much as you think they do.
Yeah.
They don't.
And like, yeah, you get the accolades and people like bro clap you and dap you
Yeah,
up
yeah,
and
yeah.
whatever. But really, like at night, other than people having problems and reps and like hate on Instagram, like no one cares
Do you
about
get a
you.
lot of hate on Instagram?
For sure. I mean, everyone's always going to have, I mean, I say for sure, not an overwhelming amount.
No,
But to me, dude, like, I
one
think
comment
that's
is
so
enough.
personal.
Yeah, we're the same. Yeah.
And it fuels me sometimes, but sometimes it also, it sucks, bro.
It hurts,
like,
bro.
Yeah, because I'm like,
No one talks about it hurting, bro. It hurts.
yeah, no,
like,
it absolutely hurts. And it also, the thing too is like, I've worked so hard to build self-belief that when someone says something that kind of like makes me question my self-belief, like that over indexes.
and you could spiral
Yeah.
in there, especially with your,
Yeah, just how I'm
way you
wired.
think, yeah.
And so now, obviously, that's not like a, oh, I'm such a victim.
No,
It's just
no.
and I don't say that, by the way, to be like, oh, we can't talk about things hurting. The reason I say that is because like keep saying, hey, if that's what you want to say. But to me, it's like, yeah, absolutely, it hurts. But also, dude, like, yeah, just truly, no one cares. Like once you hit a big goal and you do a big number, no one cares. Like truly, what Zach said about like, oh, you're the best, like you rip. And like how empty that is, dude, that is so empty.
It really is.
And also because you also remember, dude, all of the days that you did in fact rip and you went home at night and you were scared and you were anxious and like no one hit you up except with their problems or like questions. And like you didn't make any difference in your reps' lives because you did 10K that day. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
That is a horrible feeling. That is truly a feeling that makes you question, like, why do I do any of this?
Any of it. Yeah.
Lack of impact is cancer, dude.
It really is.
It truly is cancer.
It really is. And I like what you said. John Taylor talks about this all the time, of closing the gap between your performance and your potential.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, you hit one mountain peak. Guess what? You look at the next mountain peak and it's like, oh, great. Oh, you're going to hit the next mountain peak. And that's why I think a huge focus for me, and this is essentially what I do in therapy. It's essentially, in my opinion, creating and being present is like probably the two most important things in life, is the ability to create and the ability to be present.
Yeah.
And be present with the individuals you're with. And that's essentially why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm tired of not being present with people. I'm tired of faking presence. I'm tired of faking these things, and I want to be present with individuals that I love. And so where does presence come with you? Do you feel like you're a very present person? Because I feel like you are, but do you sometimes feel like like my mind's somewhere else, or my mind's in the past, or it's in the future? Because obviously you're still anxious. You have anxiety probably. You have all those challenges still. They don't disappear. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm gonna answer the question that you didn't ask because I want it clear that that's not what I'm talking about. I can hyper focus on stuff, dude, and be so dialed on something.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And I want it clear because I don't want people to misinterpret how I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. I find that I'm not present when I'm doing low impact activities. If I'm doing something where I'm totally replaceable and it shouldn't be done by me and there's no reason that I should be doing it versus someone else, and I don't feel like I'm adding a ton of value, I'm pretty distracted usually. So a lot of like...
It's a good way of putting it, actually. Yeah.
At this point, a lot of like the schoolwork that I do, to be honest, I feel like I'm like, this is not adding...
I relate to that, yeah.
Yeah, it's not adding a massive amount of value. So like I feel like I'm not super present. I'll hyperfixate, but I'm not like dialed, like mentally, like actually present.
You're not in a flow state or anything like that,
Yeah. The times that I feel like it actually matters that I'm there and I can make an impact in someone's life, dude, I'm like, my phone could ring 3 times, I won't feel it. Mm-hmm. Like I'm truly fully there. Mm-hmm. And I think part of that, to be honest, is I'm actually like, as much as I'm like really outgoing and like I'll talk to people, talkative, whatever, I'm actually unbelievably introverted. I would always rather just like be alone, to be honest, and like in my own thoughts. And I go so deep in there. And so I think I recognize that in people, dude. And I think as I get older too, like I'm 29 now, I think I've lived enough of life. Not that I'm like crazy old or like unk status or anything.
Yeah.
But I think I've lived enough of life to realize that, dude, like everyone that you're talking to at any moment, like could be on the brink of something. You truly don't know.
Sure.
And dude, to me, like those one-on-ones I have with reps where they're like, kind of like, yeah, what do you want to train on? Okay, cool. Like this and that. And I'm like, what do you feel is like keeping you from like doing more? Mm-hmm. Like, does it matter to you to do more? Or like, are you pretty content? No, I want to do more. What do you think is keeping you like actually? Like we can train. Like I'll text my guy, hey, look, next appointment, hey, I'm gonna be like 20 minutes late. Let's you and I talk. Like what's keeping you right now from like getting for, dude, those moments I'm so present when I feel like I can really actually add value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's awesome. And I think it's normal, I think, for us to feel when we don't add value to be like, okay, I don't really need to, but it's crazy. It's crazy the weight of back to leadership, back to impact. There's a weight there, and it's important. It's important that people know that you care. And it's like I said, it's just because you sell a lot does not make you a leader. And
No.
I think guys in the industry need to be heard more than just taught.
Yep.
Like, dude, let's sit down for third. I had a rep the other day, like in tears. Like it's just like let's sit down and let's just talk. We don't have to talk about sales. Like let's like what's going on. And I think that's really valuable. That's really valuable, and that's cool that you're able to. I can tell that you have like a lot of depth, and that you're not just like a robot. You have more to you. Whereas like I know guys. I won't name names. I know guys that are heavy slingers, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, where are you? Like you are a robot. Which I'm like, that's why they do what they do too. And so it's interesting. Now looking at the future and kind of looking at the mountain peaks that you have and you've hit, what are some of the mountain peaks that you're wanting to hit?
Yeah, I want number one, I want to like recreate. So I want to create other people that can either sell at a high level or just like really love what they do.
Yeah.
That's actually more important, I found, to me, like a lot more. Because to me, like, yeah, I'll never make enough money. I'll never sell enough. Like, and it's not because I spend. It's just
you could do 2 million and it'll
it doesn't
be forgotten.
matter. Yeah, it's three.
And it'll
It's
probably
three
be
next year.
getting beaten, and then it's gonna get.
Yeah.
It's just like this weird. Yeah, sorry, keep going. Yeah.
But so to me, I think I've understood that, and I understand though that like yeah, that chase to me is interesting, but it's not interesting to everybody. Like some guys, dude, if they can make $100,000, they are so stoked, and that is like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what's gonna make me happy, I want them to achieve that. I want them to like have that reward. But mostly, I just want them to find satisfaction in what they do. Mm-hmm. Because to be honest, like that's the biggest thing that is the biggest peak I'm trying to reach. And it's so multifaceted and difficult to like conceptualize. But I feel so unbelievably lucky to be where I'm at, mainly because I love talking to people. I love meeting people. But I also like sometimes like deep relationships I just don't totally know how to operate in. And so like it kind of has to be short a little bit and like kind of like slightly surface level to some degree, like if it's going to be at scale.
Really? So you have a hard time with deeper relationships?
Not really, but if I'm going to have a lot of them,
yeah,
they have to be a little bit like
shallow. No, I get
that. I love interacting with people. I know I can add value and like make people like make their day more fun, like quickly. But then like I don't want it to be like a long like crazy exhaustive thing. And I'm also like really introverted, so I love spending time alone and being in my own thoughts. This job, dude, hits all of those boxes. I don't know of anything else in the world that like does all of that. Where I'm like on my own really all day. Yeah. And then I have these quick like fun interactions where I can like actually make a dent in someone's day, make their day better, have fun, make great money. It's such a weird like Venn diagram of things that happen to coincide. And I don't know how I ended up here. Sometimes I'm like, dude, I grew up in like Quebec. There's none of this here. Like moved, been all over the place and like landed here. I feel so fortunate to have found something that's so deeply rewarding and also just like matches all of my boxes that I'm like, dude, if I can just help someone find satisfaction in what they do, meet their goals and just feel peace and happiness and fulfillment in what they do. Like that is so meaningful, dude. I feel so incredibly lucky to have what I have. And if I can just like help other people have that, that's the biggest thing that I want to achieve. I don't really care if that to them means like doing a golden door, doing a mill, doing 200K, 300K, or like them recruiting, whatever it is that like they are going to feel like they're thriving in their position. That is absolutely what I want to give others. That's so my biggest thing.
Recreation's like number one that you want to help impact and recreate and lead.
Yeah, and when I say recreate, that's what I want to recreate. Yeah, it's not necessarily top sellers.
Yeah.
I don't really care about that. Like if they care about that, then I care.
Then you care
100%
about it. Yeah.
Like I have reps that are like, I want to do a golden door. That is important to me. That's important to me. Amazing.
Right. Let's get you there.
Let's get you there, and I can for sure get you there.
Yeah.
But also, like, I have reps that are just like, you know what? Like, I'm just shy. and I want to like feel like I can meet people and look them in the eye and feel confident and converse with them. And to me, I'm like, dude, we can do that. And maybe it's 100K, maybe it's 200K, but whatever, that is what I want to recreate, is a sense of fulfillment and self-belief that, hey, I can do hard things and achieve my goals.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's sick. And then 100%. any other things? Not
yeah, for sure.
Sales, your personal sales, or whether it's family, like.
Yeah. Here's the reality, dude, is like, I mean, there's so many goals I could say, like numbers wise. And I don't want to. And the reason for that,
I hope you know I'm not prying. Like, get Aubert to say, it's like.
And to be honest, I'm so uncomfortable with I'm so comfortable with confrontation that I would just tell you if I felt like it was that way.
You're good.
I don't feel that. I want guys in the industry to stop like flexing numbers. I want guys in the industry so bad, dude, to just like be able to sit down and have lunch and just get to know each other.
This, bro.
Yeah. That again is why I'm so excited to be here. Is like, to me, this is so much more valuable at scale than like, oh, we both did golden doors, dude. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah.
I really don't care at the end of the day that I did golden door or two. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah. What matters to me is like, hey, how have you grown as a person? Are you happy? Do you feel fulfilled? What's next?
Yeah.
Like, that to me is important. So goals I'll leave aside. I also just don't believe in like talking about my goals. This industry's so much talk.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
If you're going to do something, do it. And then come back and show me that you did it. Like that is cool to me.
Yeah.
But also I feel like people feel a weird sense of pressure to like talk about their goals, because oftentimes they'll say like, oh, like I want to plaster it all over social so that people know, because then it holds me accountable.
This year I'm going to be doing this. It's like, brother, if you vocalize it in the world, do it, please.
Well, and also you get
it gives me anxiety when I see guys post. I'm like, please, brother, for the love of sweet Michael, if you don't do it, like, just do it, please.
Yeah.
Just
Well, because part of it too is like I'm also very interested in neuroscience, and there's like unbelievable amounts of like clinical research that show that like talking about your goals, the moment you express them out loud and get some form of validation from your support or peer group, that you get a dopamine hit that's superior or comparable to actually hitting a goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which then actually removes the intrinsic motivation that you feel like neurologically to hit your goals.
To hit your goal. Do you ever? You probably have some people that you've talked about your goals with. Like,
not one person knows.
Like, no. Oh,
not my parents. No one. Not one soul. Because also, part of that is because I just don't feel that it actually helps you reach them. I really don't. As much as people like to say it does.
Do you like tell your team at the start of the summer? Like, no one knows the whole summer.
Nope.
The entire summer.
Yep. At any point. No one knows what my goal was last summer. No one knows. No one knows anything. Yeah, because I also...
And like when they would ask you midsummer, they'd be like, hey, Aubert, what are you trying to
see what happens.
Is that really?
Yep.
That's cool, dude. I like that a lot. Like
I'm
more on your side. Like, I don't like talk about like, but I'll have conversations with people like, what do you? And I think that only makes sense that I do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more of like it logistically makes sense for me to do that. Like,
for
why?
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's the only.
But I think to me, it's like, dude, like, I mean, at the end of my Golden Door summer, like in retrospect, I can say this, where it's like, at the end of my Golden Door summer, my last month, I sold 11K a day. I'm going to be knocking for 96 knocking days. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah. So like, do the math.
Yeah. But to me, it's like, if you don't have like, if you're not going to do the math, why would I do the math for you? Why are you that interested? And the reality, dude, is most people who ask you about your goals are actually just they're preying on your downfall. Like, they're not actually... Right, they're like, oh, sick, you're going to do a golden door. But then, like, behind closed doors, it's like...
So true.
So to me, there's no value in it. There's no value for them. There's no value for me. I'm very disciplined about it because, again, I think the science is very clear on it and motivation and how those interplay.
I would love to learn more about the neuroscience that you know. I've heard the dopamine thing.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Yeah, it's unbelievably interesting, the science and, like, the neuroscience specifically of motivation. The other thing to that, though, and why I'm so disciplined about it is not only because I don't want it to hurt me, I want guys to stop thinking that they have to talk about their goals, because so many people, dude, will talk about their goals and they say, oh, I'm going to do 500K.
And this isn't just door to door. This is just life. This is
life. Yeah. Weight loss, exercise, anything. Yeah. They'll say, yeah, I'm going to do 500K or I'm going to lose 100 pounds. And then halfway through the like timeline, they're not on pace and they just quit. Where it's like, dude, you could have kept going, like, and I'll talk about sales because you see it so often where guys are like, hey, I want to hit golden door, And then halfway through the summer, you guys talk about the ramp. I believe in that fully.
Yeah.
But it's like also
you guys
like
talk about that. I believe in that.
Yeah, no,
How can you not? It's literally life.
No, it's life, it's data, it's science. Like
Can you
it's
imagine
math.
the Aptive? I don't like you guys' ramp.
Yeah,
policy.
I don't know about the whole
the
ramp
whole
thing.
ramp policy.
The
I
policy,
don't, it's
yeah.
the grid policy. I don't get it.
Yeah. But it's like guys are short of their goal by midsummer, and then they give up because why? If it was a goal that they had secretly committed to, and they were learning about the ramp, and you guys were like training on their and talking about like all of that and like why it's better in the second half, all of the things, right? Then if it was internalized, they'd be like, I think I can do this, and then they like push.
Yeah.
But because everyone's eyes are on them, now they're anxious, and a lot of them don't know how to deal with anxious feelings and how to pivot those to productive endeavors.
Yeah.
And so then they tap out, and what happens is the ultimate yield of their summer is less than if they hadn't talked about their goals. Where maybe they wouldn't have done a golden door if they hadn't talked about it. Maybe they would. Maybe if it was secret and the ramp motivated them, they would have done 450K. But now, because they're like, oh, dude, I'm at like 300K. I don't know. I've got this trip in Powell. I don't know. I've got this. And now they have to have an argument for why they didn't do a golden door. So now their date's shortened, and now they've got something else and a family trip and this. Dude, like, so many people hurt because they talk about their goals and publicize them. I'm the biggest advocate for keep that stuff. Close to your chest, like inside your chest.
100%. And there was probably times like even like the summer where you were like literally calling people like, hey, I think I can do a golden door.
Yeah.
Which that's not what you're saying. You're talking about the guys that are literally public telling everyone, you know. But yeah, there's definitely room for having those private conversations of calling. And I like what you did. I saw on your Instagram the other day. Not the other day, like literally when we followed each other, you had kind of like your first golden door, you would post your numbers.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. Like, what's the neuroscience of doing something like that?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, is that
to be honest, that was not peer reviewed study at all. The reason I did that, to be honest, is because I did it like one day because I was stoked that I hit 10K.
And do you feel like, but did that?
And then I did it again, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then people were like, hey, where's your story? You're gonna post? I see you did 14K, and I was like, oh. Yeah,
it's like an obligation. Because what I was gonna lead to that was like there's a level of that, but it was when you said that they plastered me everywhere. It's interesting the psychology of marketing someone and what that does to up there.
Yeah,
game changing.
Yeah,
because it's like
you guys have done that better than anyone I've ever seen.
This last summer,
anyone.
This last summer,
but the summer,
But the OG. But it's people wonder, hey, why is the grid doing that?
Yeah.
You know what it did? I talked to Josh Nilsson, who was in charge of the creative
stud,
and dude, love him.
Yeah,
he talked about there is that psychological effect of like when you're getting posted and plastered with hype videos,
like you're like a
you have
rock
to,
star, dude.
And you have to keep going.
Yeah,
like that you have that mantle that doesn't.
But here's the problem, and this is where it's different. Is that's true once it's evidence, but if you take a kid that hasn't sold or has sold like kind of mediocre and you plaster them on social for no reason other than, hey, he's going for golden door, horrible backlash.
Bad.
But when someone plastering the post-mortem, the results, that substantiates evidence for self-belief.
Exactly.
Aggrandize that all day.
And that's
what
this is great. We know we talked about this.
That's what I've done, and that's what's worked for me. Is then, like the accountability of, like I have to perform because I did it yesterday. Now I feel pressure competitively, but also like no one's asking me to post these. Like that motivated me. But at scale, a big goal, like it doesn't, and part of it is know yourself. To me, and actually shout out to freaking Calvin Escobedo, dude. Like great episode on the landing pad, but
love him.
Where he talked about
Have you met him?
Yeah, I've met him.
Dude, he's so good.
Yeah. I've talked to him a couple times. He's awesome. Like very resourceful, amazing dude.
Yeah.
But he talked about this on a podcast, and this is just like the point is knowing yourself. Like some guys need to look at the leaderboard. Some guys like don't look at that until you're like in your bag and then look at it and then it pushes you. To me, it's a similar thing where the summer number is scary. The daily number if you ask me, hey, like gun to your head, do 20K today, cool, done. That doesn't scare me. It's digestible, and for some reason it's approachable to me. But if you say like, hey, do 2 mil next summer, I'm like, okay, like let's Like that creates more anxiety
Yeah.
than like a daily goal. So that's why I've never had issues posting like what I've done on a day.
Yeah.
But like,
And that's the post result. It's like,
yeah, it's the post, correct. And that's the most important part.
Uh-huh.
You will never ever, probably in my lifetime, hear me say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this." Because if I truly believe
even though
it, I'll
there's
do
that
it.
idea of the manifestation, people manifesting.
Yeah.
Because there's also that side.
Private.
That's your private manifesting.
I'm so private with my affirmations. But the other thing
It's awesome.
too
That's
is
so cool.
I don't manifest. Well, I do
You have like
manifest my
I'm thinking of
numbers.
like all the greats. Like you have Conor McGregor, who was telling everyone what he was gonna do, and he did it, which was scary because you have all these different. So it's cool to hear. I mean, it's obviously not a black and white answer. This thing.
Well, what's interesting about it is and I mean, again, I'm only one guy, so how am I right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to hard to really like determine. But I just wonder how much of Conor McGregor's success and career has to do with him having told people versus just the inner drive that he had. Is that actually the factor and the variable that led to the
led him to
success?
do it. It probably wasn't. No,
I don't
But
think
he
it
still did it,
was.
which was crazy.
Correct.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is, to be honest, like I admire it because I love when guys are like, I'm gonna do this, and then they do it, and like that's so sick.
It's dope. Yeah. It's the guys that
Yeah.
that say they're gonna do it and then they do it. I'm like, that's where I'm like, when the guys that say they're gonna do it and
Please
you're
do
like,
it. Yeah.
"Ooh." Bro, I'm like praying
Because
for them.
for
I'm
every
because I'm the
guy-
same way. I would never post my goals. I would never
Nope.
publicly make that. Maybe close friends, the guys are like, and you're maybe even better than that. But like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
But part of it too is because like, and we've been in this for a minute, and like this is just door to door, but this is life, and it's
Door to
just
door is
everywhere.
related to everything.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, for every person that says, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and then successfully does it, there's like 20 casualties of guys who thought that that was the way, and it actually terrorized them away from achieving their true potential because they felt like they were falling short and it didn't work out. So I'm like, this is not a proven system of getting people. It's not a good methodology for achieving your goals.
Yeah.
What is a good methodology for achieving your goals is what you believe about yourself privately, what you do every day to substantiate that. That to me are the two things that tried and true in my life: who I am privately, what I think about myself, my sense of identity, and then my execution, the plan and the execution.
Yeah.
The identity, the plan, the execution.
Yeah.
Those are the three pillars for achievement that have never failed me.
Wow. That's awesome.
All the other
That's nuggets.
stuff.
Yeah, that's nuggets. So we'll wrap it up here, but I wanted to just like ask you, what are some of your challenges? Like, what are some things that you're like, yeah, dude, I really want to work on that. Like, there's some things that I'm really lacking. Maybe what are some 3 things that you're like, dude, this is, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, there's one that comes to mind, but it's the biggest one, so I want to go there last. One of them, dude, is I'm working really hard on just getting like way more intimately close with my reps, like knowing them on a more personal level, and not just my reps, but my friends, people. I think I'm someone that like maybe this is like a limiting belief, but I know I can like actually make someone's day like way more fun in a quick period of time. If I like pull up to an event, I can animate, create energy. And sometimes I think that keeps me from like leaning into like let's kick back for a few hours and really chat. I want to get better at that because I've seen that it's such a non-negligible in like, if you want to be impactful and make a meaningful, lasting difference in someone's life, like you have to do this.
Yep.
So that's a big one. I would say 2, just like chilling, dude, like a little bit where I love the grind. I love the grind. I love the grind.
The grace part.
Yeah. But there's parts of the grind that are just as important that don't feel like a grind. Such as like, for example, I just got back from Bali with like a bunch of my reps, and dude, it was so hard for me to go on that trip. I can't tell you how many times I almost canceled like me going and just like had them go with like other leaders, is because it's so hard for me to step out of the routine. But like that trip in Bali, like you make memories, you have these meaningful experiences with your reps, and that means so much to people to where like it's absolutely worth it, and it has a more impact, but non-ROI quantifiable. Like it just has a bigger impact, but you just can't measure it on your reps. I need to be better at that stuff. Like relaxing, taking a step back, seeing the bigger picture. Here's the biggest challenge that I have in life. and I'll just tell you, like, in full transparency, like, real raw, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I really wonder, like, it actually keeps me up at night a lot, where I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I just can't go back to bed because I'm like, I really don't know if I'm living my life right.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm doing enough. I don't know if I'm necessarily in the right spot. And please, recruiters, don't hit me up based on this. But, like, I don't know if, like, I just...
He gets like 6 Hawks guys with this. Hey, bro, I saw that.
Or you feel like, yeah, this is not what this is about, okay? If you
love
think
that
this
little-
is a
yeah.
plug for you to recruit, then your emotional intelligence is not
It's
high
not
enough for us
there.
to work
You have
together.
not listened to this
Yeah, we will
point.
not
Yeah.
work together or
Yeah,
get
yeah,
along.
Yeah.
But what I wonder is, am I in the right spot? Like, am I a good enough leader? Should I focus more on leadership? Should I focus more on sales? Is what I'm doing, is it all adding up? Am I having enough impact? Am I close enough to my reps? Am I like I'm frugal? Should I not be frugal? Like, should I just like splurge on stuff? Should I don't know the answer to a lot of like really important questions about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've worked super hard to be like financially independent, take care of business, like have great resources. Does it matter? Because as we've said before, you get to a point where you have them and you realize no one cares, including myself. It has not made a meaningful impact in my life, other than I have more time freedom and like, sure, like flexibility, but I don't like flexibility. And so does any of this stuff I'm doing actually matter at scale?
That's
my biggest challenge, dude, is like...
Is it doubt? Would you just label that as doubt or just constantly questioning? Like, how would you label that challenge?
Just meaning. It's really like search for meaning.
That's a challenge for you because it seems like you have a very meaningful life. Like, it seems like you...
It always seems that way for everyone, right? And it's not that I don't feel like my life has meaning. I just wonder, is this the meaning that it should have?
So it's the doubt.
Maybe it is doubt. And that doesn't surprise me because what's been the hardest thing for me to get is self-belief, right? But yeah, it's like, dude, like and again, I mean,
it's crazy the doubt, because the doubt, not to relate it back to the OCD is called the doubting disorder.
Yeah.
You doubt everything.
Yeah.
So
and it's like, even dude, when I'm like doing great, closing guys, like signing guys, doing all the things, training, everyone's doing well, everything's happening. I'm still like, but now the doubt's more meta, where it's like, is all of this actually helping these people? Because like I look at my life and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, for sure, in so many, and this is almost like first world problem, right? Where it's like, yeah, in so many categories, people would look at that and be like, dude, you have more money, you have this, like you're kind of out of the rat race in a lot of ways. Like you can kind of think, breathe, like so many people would die for this. And so I understand that there's a sense of gratitude too that kicks in where I'm like, dude, like the fact that I get to operate at a meta level like this and have these doubts on such infrastructural items, I'm so grateful for. But at the same time, they're no less important, where I look at all of that now and I'm like, dude, if I'm having these questions and I feel like it's changed my life in so many ways, but also in a lot of other ways, it hasn't changed my life really, then I think, what will these reps that I'm like mentoring and training and helping, like I'm ultimately bring them with me, and like the leadership is like, they're gonna follow me somewhere. Like, am I going the right place? And this is, again, it's not really a sales thing. It's not a doubt in like sales as a platform or Aptive as a company or any of that. It's just like, ultimately at the end of my life, like what's the meaning of it, of the greater impact? And that's where I think the way I ground myself back in the grace aspect of it, this is where, dude, I'm like,
so how do you combat that challenge? Like,
do you know how, dude?
Yeah. Is that an everyday thing? You're always questioning these things.
I think about this a lot.
Yeah. And it's heavy, obviously.
And I think about my life decisions, and I think like, school, was this the right timing? Should I have done college slower? I rethink everything all the time.
It's rumination, yeah.
Yeah, but I also, the way I kind of take a step back is like, well, number one, I can't change any of it. So as much as I think of it, it's not going to change it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help rumination. You're still going to
Yeah,
ruminate
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But what it does do is it helps me think, well, if I'm going to ruminate, what can I ruminate about that's going to like yield a result? And that's where I start to ruminate about the future, right? And I start to ruminate about what I'm doing right now and where it leads.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way I combat that to be more productive with it. The other way too is I take a step back and I say,
So the one way you find a way to make it productive, the doubts or whatever you would call it.
yeah, biggest way that I kind of take this rumination and the self-doubt and make it productive is first of all, I understand that all of the retrospective, retroactive
Yeah, yeah.
self-doubt is not constructive.
Mm-hmm.
So I just say, hey, if I'm going to doubt things, and if I'm going to question things, and if I'm going to ruminate about things, let me ruminate about what I'm doing right now and where it leads.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that at least will yield some impact.
Back to being present. Yeah,
Correct.
Kind of try to tap into the present moment.
That's massively helpful. The other thing that I think about too, and part of the whole doubt is probably comparing myself, right? Like of like other people's level of achievement of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder like, hey, could I have done this and like gotten there quicker, whatever. That's for sure one. Like I'm not gonna neglect that or like argue that. But the other thing that helps me, dude, is I think like even if at times like things don't feel that meaningful for me, where I'm going through all the grind, and like for sure it's like producing results.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder like, yeah, is the money worth it? Is like this helpful? Is it changing my life?
Mm-hmm.
I just look at my reps' lives and I think, how is this rep's life now different than before their summer?
Yeah.
And I think even if for me, I feel like it's maybe not having the very personal value that I would have hoped in like the way that it impacts my relationships or this and that, I'm able to look at some of these other people that it's like done similar things for and what they've done with it. And dude, that is where I'm starting to find like massive, massive, massive meaning. Like, cause to me, like making an extra 100 grand, not super material, doesn't really matter. But when I look at like someone that's like their first 100 grand and now they're like, cool, I can afford a ring and like propose to my fiance.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
we have a place and we don't have to worry. And she doesn't have to like, work all these part-time jobs and she can kind of like support me or whatever the case may be. I'm like, that's massive.
Yeah, yeah.
And and that's where I start to find more meaning. But I think to be honest, like to kind of like summarize it, where I find the most grace in it is that I actually don't get any meaning from anything that helps me ever. I never have. Making more money, any of that has never brought meaning to me. What's always brought meaning to me is, hey, because of something I said or did, this person has had this experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to attribute their success to me, but it's just saying like, if I even had like a small part in this great result that this person's getting, like I could die today and like that would be good because that has legs. I don't have legs. I will die one day and that like my earthly impact is gone. As far as like my ability to consume it.
What creates this idea to even want to be the best then, if that's the case, if it's not for you? Like, because it's that idea Tim Grover talking about, winning is selfish and all of those things. What pushes you to tap into those places? Because typically if someone were to say, hey, like, I don't get like satisfaction from things for me or winning or doing those things, like I question the meaning of that, then what makes you go out and rip that kind of summer or want to go do those?
Can I be so real with you?
Yes, dude. That's yes.
Like way more real than a lot of people listening to this are going to be comfortable with. There's
be real. Don't just go for it.
I'm framing it for you so it makes sense. I had a rep call me this summer. Okay. And he asked me, hey man, like he's Ripper, Golden Door rep. And he called me and he said, hey, like I'm like 570. You know how that feels, right? He's like, dude, how do I do it? How do I do it? Like, because I feel like I get so anxious because I measure myself based on like my outputs and my results every day. I'm trying to, focus on the inputs and the controllables so that like it's not as anxiety inducing and this and that. And I said, and this is the point, dude, of what drives me. There's this feeling and anxiety that I feel that like, hey, if I don't achieve, I'm like not good enough. I truly believe that if I don't perform at my best, I am worth less as a person. If my results aren't the best, I'm worth less than the best. If I'm not performing, I am worth less in my own eyes. My worth is directly tied to my output. And again, that's something that people would say, oh, therapy, self-love, right? But I also think of it from a way more positive light. I think
which is good.
That's a for sure dark thing to think.
Yeah, I'm that.
But
I think all high performers tap into that for sure.
And here's why I would say that it's actually not that dark. Well, number one, it's there. Regardless of whether it's light or dark, positive or negative, it is there.
Yeah.
And the fact that you feel anxiety because there's a sense in you that like, I'm not good enough if I don't perform, then there must be truth to it. Here's why it's also a positive for me. I don't view it from a lens of, oh, I'm worthless, I'm not confident, I don't have any self-worth. That's not at all what it is. I'm always confident, and I always have self-worth. But what it is I think that there is something in me that can achieve more. And the feeling of I'm not good enough, or I'm not as good, or I'm not worth as much if I don't perform, what it means to me, and the reason that exists is because I know I'm capable of so much more. I owe it to myself out of integrity of character to go and do that. I think God put me on earth to be an exceptionally wonderful version of myself.
Yeah.
If I'm anything shy of that, do I have worth still? Of course. But why would I not want to be that? So to me, instead of like, and that's what I told the rep, I was like, you know those feelings you feel of like I'm not good enough if I don't perform? Instead of like trying to bottle those up and be like, no, like I'm good enough. It's all about the inputs. It's not about the inputs. Golden Door is not about the inputs. That is a metric of measurement of output. Instead of fighting against that feeling that you're not good enough if you don't perform, lean into it. Because to me, it's like, you know what? If I don't perform, I'm not good enough. And I'm not worth as much in my own eyes if I don't yield the very most I can. Cool, game on.
Yeah.
That's not a dark thing to me.
No.
But I think people need to...
I think where it gets dark is where people would think it would get dark is if you don't hit it, then you are worthless, and then you treat yourself worthless.
Then hit it.
Exactly.
But
so that's the winning mentality. Is then we just have to hit it. We have to figure out a way to hit it.
And here's the truth: is like, yeah, objectively, dude, if you're capable of more and you don't achieve it, then I think you are worth less than yourself if you had done it. Because you could have done more, you could have achieved more. Like, dude, like. David Goggins talks about this thing of like meeting God, and God's like, oh, you're not David Goggins. This is David Goggins. This is who David Goggins was supposed to be, like ultra marathon, like this, that, like all of these things. But you're like this like guy that never did that, and you were scared and you didn't do it. That is a mortifying feeling to me too. And so to me, it's like I'd rather have that realization now of like, dude, I'm not good enough if I don't do X, Y, Z. I'd rather have that now than regret in retrospect when I'm like 80. I'd rather fight those feelings now and push hard. And that's where it's like, yeah, man, that is the tough pill to swallow, is like,
it's just the truth. It's just the fact.
It's the facts, dude.
The fact is outputs, if you don't perform at an output that you think you can perform, you just are going to feel like less. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And if you could have hit that output, you literally are in a way less. Not less than in God's eyes, not less, but you perform.
It's not like you don't have worth. It's not like you don't have value.
No. Which is where people would come in and be like, dude, that's dark. It's the ones that are like, no, it's not about that. This is a good thing. This is actually not a terrible thing to view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also like, hey, when you start to hear some of those conversations, and I would also say that it is dark, but whether it's dark or not doesn't matter. It's true. It's true to me, and so it doesn't matter to me if it's dark. But here's the truth: is like,
it's true.
When you start to play with these uncomfortable ideas that are dark to you and are uncomfortable, and you're like, I don't know if I want to really play that game. Cool, don't play.
Yeah.
Because that's the game I play, and that's why I win in what I do.
Yeah.
If you don't want to play with those feelings and feel them, then don't play. You're not gonna win.
That's it. It's Michael Jordan. It is.
Yep.
100. It's winning, dude. You're amazing, dude.
Likewise, bro. I'm very excited to be here. There's a reason I want to be here.
Yeah, no, it's truly admirable. We'll have to wrap up here.
Yeah.
I always, and I think people are going to love this episode. I think people are going to really, I think this is going to open up your reps, my reps. I think this conversation we're having is probably going to open up, if it can, the whole industry to what winning really means, what impact really means, creation means, all of these things that we've talked about, anxiety, all of these things that are hard and how they can be channeled into good. But I always ask each person I have on obviously the name is Grit and Grace. Yeah. When you hear that, what do you think of?
When I think of grit, you know, what I described earlier when it's like the day's going wrong, everything's going wrong, it starts to rain, your competition day, you're behind, you're not selling, your reps are struggling, they're getting kicked out, this, that, the other. And that we all have an idea of what it's going to be like when it sucks. And then when it sucks, it's not like that. It's always a little different. And it's always sucky because you didn't expect it to be like that. The feeling of that and saying, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
That to me, that choice is grit.
Yeah.
Like grit is not when like you work really hard on like days where it's like moderately comfortable. Grit is when it's like, dude, like those days this summer that I called my boss, which like barely makes sense at this point for me to call anyone, but it's like it's 1 p.m. I'm like getting on the doors late because I'm like scared and anxious, and I'm like, dude, I'm scared. I don't know if I can do this. Cool, I'm gonna go rip, and then I go sell my first door, because at some point your feelings are just detached from your actions. Like that feeling of like, oh, everything sucks and the anxiety's there, and you do.
Yeah.
That's grit.
Yeah. 100%.
That's what comes to mind.
Yeah.
Grace, dude, is that you'll never do any of it perfectly well. And just accepting that.
Yeah.
And it's not completely, to me, being okay with that, but knowing that regardless, I tried.
Yeah.
And I did everything that's in my power. And that's how you balance it. Like, you just have to be realistic about the fact that you won't be able to always be perfectly gritty. And there's going to be the 30 minutes that like you didn't get on the doors because you were like panic attack or whatever.
I relate to that, yeah.
But knowing, you know what, like, because I chose to exercise grit, that 30 minutes is made up somehow.
Yeah.
Because I'm now more relatable, because I'm like, you know what, this person probably has some form of like anxiety around different things in their lives. I'm more relatable. I sell better for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
The grace, dude, is just this trust and faith and confident expectation that if I do choose to exercise grit, when I do, it works out.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great correlation. Dude, thank you, bro. Appreciate your time. I know you're busy. I'm busy. And this is like the perfect time to collab. And this is going to probably come out in the perfect time in the summer.
Absolutely.
So, awesome. Thanks, bro. That's a wrap for this episode.